What's going on, everybody? It's FREEDO here for your Overwatch. New event around the corner, and that means new skins. The Overwatch Lunar New Year event returns January 24th. That's next week, Thursday, and there you'll be able to get your hands on this brand spanking new skin modeled after the ancient Chinese military general Lu Bu. With just about 6 days left until the event starts, we can expect a legendary skin at least once per day, but they may release to Twitter an extra one, even tossing in a few epics whenever they feel like it. In other news, we have huge updates about the Overwatch competitive scene. Yesterday, Commissioner of the Overwatch League, Nate Nancer, tweeted out, "As I mentioned during the Pro Pugs last week, our goal is to better align Overwatch League patches with what is live in the game. Stage 1 of Overwatch League 2019 will be played on the patch currently on the PTR." Yes! If you're a fan of the Overwatch League like I am, you definitely want this to be the case, because it's the only way we have a chance of not seeing GOATs 24/7. Now, in the competitive community, there's quite a bit of a disagreement whether that's even going to matter at all. Monte Cristo tweets out saying, "Beware of Overwatch Chicken Littles telling you the sky is falling on the meta for Stage 1. The teams just returned to seriously scrim in LA, and it will take a lot of trial and error in practice to refine the meta." Jake responds with some bad news. Spoiler, GOATs is 75% plus on the PTR. This is an extremely conservative estimate, meaning that the pro teams are still just scrimming out GOATs mirrors, which might be a bad sign. Monte Cristo responds back, "I imagine this is true right now. I also imagine things will open up as teams start seriously practicing for the next month." Jake, hope so. Haven't seen anything remotely close to being as consistent as 3-3. Minor variations with Ana, Winston, answer counter strats the majority of the time. Slasher also responded to this tweet, simply saying, "Delusional. We must all bend the knee to our GOATs overlords." Monte Cristo responds saying he doubts GOATs will be omnipresent like it is now. Slasher responds back that it's going to come down to what's in the map pool, because anything that is a tight map with key choke points, we're just going to be seeing a lot more of the 3-3 comp coming down the line. Now, to add in my 2 cents with this entire pro meta rigmarole, pro teams are extremely monkey see, monkey do, and it is still early days with them scrimming. The moment that GOAT starts to look weak, they're going to drop it like a bad habit. But if it still does get played, the areas that Jake was talking about with its consistency is that it has the durability to always fight where it wants, and the resources to always have a chance to win a fight because of how their ults combo together. So even when you have a quote-unquote counter GOATs composition, they could still grind out teamfight after teamfight, eventually finding an opening that sort of validates its existence. And because of that reliability, teams will just lean into that rather than playing another style of play that's harder to do unless there's a big gain in the effective consistency you'll get, which I do think will happen. You gotta remember too, a lot of these pros that are saying GOATs is gonna be meta Stage 1 also said we're going to have a quad tank meta once Junkrat got nerfed in the Overwatch League Season 1. Well, that never happened, because I think once these coaches really have time to start to pick apart the way the patch works, the DPS play in Overwatch League is way beyond any other competitive scene. So yeah, although maybe some teams might want to rely on the teamwork reliant strategy of 3-3, I think if you're Philadelphia Fusion or NYXL, you got players like Carpe, EQO, or Pine, you let them click the heads, because I think people quickly forget the big step up some of these all-star pros in OWL are in comparison to the tier 2 scene, which is all we've seen for the past few months. My assessment, GOATs will look playable like the Slambulance comp did in OWL Season 1, but it'll get clowned on by some of the best players in the world. And speaking of the tier 2 scene, Overwatch Contenders is getting a massive buff. A lot of the things the community has been asking for, they are receiving this upcoming season, as they'll be instituting what they're calling showdowns, which will be scheduled during the mid-season break of Overwatch League, where they divide the entire world that plays in Overwatch Contenders into 2 different regions, either the Atlantic or Pacific. And what this will do is see the best teams from each region go head-to-head at a live event. This is so cool. So the first one will be the Pacific Showdown, May 24th to the 26th, taking the top team from Australia and the Pacific Division and the top 2 teams from China and Korea. Then on the other side of the world, the Atlantic Atlantic Showdown will be May 31st to June 2nd, taking the top 2 teams from Europe, the top 3 from North America, and the top team from South America. Not to mention, both these tournaments are double elimination, which is something that I was hoping that we would get for playoffs in the Overwatch League as well. Double elimination is so important for esports, in my opinion, because upsets are too easily found without them. But what's even better is there's even a crazier tournament at the end of all of this called the Gauntlet from October 10th to the 13th, which will incorporate everybody. All top performing regions will send in their teams from Season 2 to the Gauntlet. Performance in the Pacific and Atlantic showdowns will determine specific invites. Now, this will be the best of the best that the Tier 2 scene has to offer from across the globe. What's cool about this and this entire format is that this is like the World Cup on steroids. Now, we'll see how that plays out. Last year, the World Cup was played from August to September for the group stages, and then, of course, the playoffs at BlizzCon in November. So they're kind of cramming a whole lot of Overwatch events month to month if they do that again this year, which is kind of problematic because despite the Tier 2 scene asking for LANs for their finals, having them really conflicts with other obligations like to the World Cup, especially when they're like a month apart. You're not going to practice as hard for the World Cup as you are for your Contenders finals, but playing well in both is important to these players as they all want to get picked up for the Overwatch League to try to get a contract so they can actually get paid. But now these international LAN events will be the highest stake Tier 2 competitions, bar of course placing high enough in your own region, hopefully winning it, getting the chance to go in the first place. Because of course what scouts are looking for is LAN tested experience. So we'll have to see how all that pans out. If you're excited for the new event or found any of the other stories that we covered today interesting, let us know in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to leave it a like. It really does help us out, lets us know that you're enjoying the content. And if you did, why not subscribe so you can see what we upload next? To be sure that you get it though, hit the bell icon next to the subscribe button so you actually get notified when our videos come out. Link to the description is our Twitter where we tweet out news, updates, and dank memes. That's been it for me. I've been FREEDO for Your Overwatch. I'll see you guys next time.